Hey everybody, thank you for buying one of our package deals of our tasting flights. In the next couple minutes I'm going to go through some tasting notes and how we taste them, what we pull out of them. But at first, what we always like to do in our tasting room is give you kind of a background as to how we started the process. We feel like it's a really important thing for everybody to know, and we're all pretty in love with 291 with this story. So 291 has been a distillery now for about 8 years altogether in the Colorado Springs area. We are probably one of the longest running ones in Colorado Springs. The owner is a man named Michael Myers. As many of you guys know, he's not Austin Powers or the serial killer, even though his name is Jason Michael Myers. It would be really funny, but at least he's always got a good costume for Halloween. Michael was a fashion beauty photographer in New York City for a long time, so he shot for Allure magazine, Vanity Fair, Estee Lauder. We have a Sam Elliott photo in the tasting room that's about 20 to 30 years old, and if you ever watch us on the ranch, you can definitely see from season 1 to Sam Elliott and Ashton Kutcher and everybody are always drinking 291 whiskey. You'll see us on a couple different shows too, so let us know if you guys have seen us yet. In 2001, Michael lived about 3 blocks away from the World Trade Center with his 2 boys who were under the age of 5 and his wife. They lived about on the 34th floor of their building, so pretty close, probably a beautiful view at that time. But on 9/11, Michael had to walk his boy to school when the first plane crashed into the building. Obviously, that's a very traumatic time for us as a nation, and I'm pretty sure it was hard for him and his boys to see that. Fortunately, everybody was safe and was able to get out of that area. The only bad thing is that they just were not able to go back to their apartment at that time. So they were looking for a different place to go, and his in-laws lived in the Colorado Springs area, and they decided that this was going to be a good place for them to kind of like reset. The only bad part about that is that Michael was not able to do fashion beauty photography in the Colorado Springs area. If you've never visited Colorado Springs, it's very different than New York City. So Michael's life for a long time was getting on a plane Monday morning, flying out to New York, doing a bunch of photo shoots, coming back Friday night, and then hanging out with his kids for a couple days, and then doing it all over again. He did that for quite a few years. And I know I've flown to New York City. It's pretty tiring, and I can only imagine doing that weekly. Seems like a lot. Michael felt like it was just really wearing on his time and his health and being with his family. He loves his boys. He feels like that is his life. If there was one last day, he would definitely want to spend it with his boys, no matter where it was at. So Michael was kind of looking for a different career path to keep him kind of closer to his family. And he was flying back from a Vanity Fair shoot when he read an article in the New York Times about Hendrick's Gin and Sailor Jerry Rum, and how the owner of those 2 spirits actually had nothing to do with alcohol prior to that, which is crazy because you see Hendrick's Gin and Sailor Jerry Rum everywhere. Sorry about that, guys. So the article was basically talking about his life and how he did marketing for a magazine prior to even creating those 2 spirits. And when Michael read that, he was like, this is awesome. This guy and I pretty much have very similar lifestyles, and it's awesome that he just quit his job and decided to do something completely different. And that kind of stuck with Michael. It kind of lit a little light bulb off. So for a while, Michael thought that he would love to brand a whiskey, and eventually somebody asked him, why don't you just make your own? And that kind of stuck with Michael. Being raised in southern Georgia, I'm sure he saw a bunch of people moonshining and making whiskey in the backwoods of that area. At this point, I think that whiskey is definitely running in Michael's blood. I don't know if he has a real blood type or a whiskey blood type, but it kind of stuck with him, and he decided that that was going to be his next move. So it took him a little bit longer to quit his international photography business, but he did, and he decided that Colorado Springs was going to be the area to start his new distillery. You've got to do a couple different things in order to start that. The first thing is that you've got to have a location. So right now what we're in is about 7,500 square feet. Our tasting room is about the size of what Michael started with, so about 339 square feet altogether. So very, very tiny. It was in a basement room of a building that's pretty much next door to us over here. Our location, the next thing to do was get your DSP, so a distillery license. That usually takes about 8 months altogether. Michael did it in about a quarter of the time, so about 6 weeks altogether. He always jokes and says that if he did not make any good whiskey, at least he could fill out some paperwork for people who do, which is always great because either way you're drinking whiskey. The third thing, and the coolest thing that we've got, is that you have to have equipment. Michael looked at a brand new still, realized that it was going to be about $50,000 for a brand new still, which is really unrealistic to him at that time. I don't know anybody else who would really be able to do that. And being that he's never homebrewed before in his life, that's a pretty big jump. So he looked into building his own. Realized that all you really need were copper plates and somebody to weld them together. And Michael's photography career actually kind of helped him out moving forward on our 291 career path. He did a whole art show around something called photogravure. So photogravure is taking a copper plate, getting an image engraved into it, and then getting a couple prints out of it. These images behind me are actually from Michael's photogravure art show, which is such a beautiful thing. It was basically a story describing his life. So because he had those copper plates lying around, he got them sent over from New York, and him and his friend decided to measure them out, weld them together, and turn them into our first still. I know that you guys aren't here right now, but if you were to come into our distillery, we would show you that the new still, or the still that we are using, our very first still, has some amazing engraving still on it, which is really, really beautiful. It's made up of about 6 or 7 pieces altogether, which is such a beautiful thing. I think that's why our whiskey is really, really good, because everything has touched that still from day one. It's got a lot of love and passion from his past life and bringing it over into his future. But Michael pretty much had everything lined up and decided that he needed to kind of create his own little mash bill. His favorite rye is Tom's Candy, so he was very, very inspired by that type. He wanted to do a very stand-up cowboy whiskey, very westernized, very bold, beautiful, much like Colorado. So because of that, he made his own mash bill, practiced a few runs, released his first clear out of the still on 9/11 in 2011. He had taken it to a distillery event, and there's a couple people there who were able to try it. They were like, "This is amazing. You need to start aging it and bottling it now." So Michael obviously has done something right and created this beautiful spirit. So he had to definitely create a name for his brand. And 291 was kind of a number that popped up pretty often for him. So when he was studying photography in school, he read an article about the first art gallery in the world to take photography as a high-end art, and that was Art Gallery 291 on Avenue 291 in New York City. But when he was reading the art gallery interview, or I should say research paper, he was living in dorm room 291, so it was a number that was very, very important for him at that time, and ever since then we've pretty much always noticed 291 popping up. That's a really cool, inspirational thing, and he feels like that means a lot to him. He also says that, being in a dark room and taking pretty much a raw image and turning it into a beautiful print is very, very, very similar to being in a distillery and taking raw grains and turning it into a beautiful spirit. The only positive thing now is that you can drink it, which is always really fun. So since then, Michael has been pretty successful in where we're at. We've won World's Best Rye in 2018. This year we won America's Best New Make with our White Dog, which is our unaged rye. Pretty much all of our bottles have won an award. We've won a couple different awards as a distillery. We have bumped up now to about a team of 14, which doesn't seem like a lot, but Michael started by himself or with a couple different friends after a while. His first employee was hired 3 years after. So since then, we've just kind of been up and running, and we're able to try about 8 different spirits on your guys' flagship, which is really awesome. Being that we've only been running for about 8 years, that's an amazing thing. All the awards we've won for an 8-year thing, that's pretty impressive. So I really hope that you guys enjoy 291 as much as we do as our family, and I really hope that you guys know that once you drink 291, you're family. So I know that you're in the crew now. I hope that you guys enjoy this. Hey 291 family, it's Candy, down at the tasting room. I know that you guys are at home doing your own little tasting flight with hopefully your friends and family. So we're gonna go through our package number 3, so our aged flight. This is gonna be pretty much everything that we put into a barrel. It's a really fun package. You're gonna try our barrel proofs, our small batch, and our American, which is also really awesome. So if you want, we can get into it. So we are gonna start with our first 3. We are going to start with our Bourbon Mash Bills. It's going to be 80% corn, 19% malted rye, 1% malted barley. The first one that you guys are going to try is going to be our American, so this little guy over here. It's kind of like an ode to an Irish or Scottish whiskey. We age it for just about 7 months in a used barrel, which means we basically age our bourbons in our barrels and then take those barrels and start aging that American. It's going to taste very similar to Highland Scotch, so a little bit more of that fruit and florally notes on the front half with those fresh cut leathers kind of blended in between. It's cut with water, brought down to 90 proof, so it's a perfect summertime whiskey. If you want to throw it in a sweet tea and sit on your porch with your friends over summer, it's amazing. I will not think that you guys will be upset from that one. This guy gets a really cool kind of aspen charcoal mellowing. The rest of them get Aspen Stave Finishes. So basically what an aspen charcoal mellowing is, we take aspen charcoal, we lay it out, and we will run our American through that. It'll pull out a lot of those impurities and make it a little bit smoother and cleaner at the finish. I hope that you guys enjoy this one. Alright, so now we're going to move on to our actual bourbons. Our actual bourbons are going to be a little bit different than the American in the sense that they're aged in 10-gallon virgin white American oak barrels for just about a year. We do a really cool Colorado finish, which is an Aspen Stave Finish. We basically take our Aspen Staves, char them in the back with Aspen charcoal, and throw them into the barrel for the last 3 weeks of their life in that barrel. It kind of gives you a different finish. Not a lot of people know what an Aspen Stave is, or even what an Aspen is going to taste like. So what we get is a little bit more of that minty kind of green taste on the front half, and a lot of those baking spices on the back half. The first one that you guys are going to get into is going to be our small batch. So this guy is cut with water and brought down to 100 proof. You're going to get a lot of those vanilla and caramel kind of like smells and tastes out of it. We pull banana Fosters a little bit out of these guys, so it is perfect for a sipping whiskey. Throw it into an old fashioned. Pretty much any cocktail that you want to make with a bourbon, this would be a great one for you. Your last one of the Bourbon Mash Bills on this aged flight is going to be our barrel proof bourbon. The difference between this one and the last one that you guys just tried is that it's going to be not cut with water. Same kind of aging process, so aged for just about a year in 10-gallon virgin white American oak barrels with that 3-week Aspen Stave finish, so you're going to have that really good Colorado finish. Just not cut with water. So you're going to range from 126 to 129 proof. It varies based on bottles. So the one that I'm trying today is going to be at 126.2. I get a lot of those Creme Brûlée, banana Fosters, really caramelized tastes because we do a heavy level char on our barrels, about a level 4, so that alligator skin. You're really going to pull that oaky kind of caramelized taste out of it. You guys can take as much time as you want with this one. It's a little bit higher in proof. We don't judge you if you add some ice cubes or some water. Typically when you come to your tasting flight, however you want to drink your whiskey is the right way. It's never the wrong way. So I just hope that you enjoy our 2-9 ones. So now we're going to move on to our Rye Mash Bill. I changed out my glass. Typically in the tasting room, we tend to change out our glasses in between our bourbons and our ryes. It just gives you a fresh, new kind of cup, and you can really pull out those flavor profiles. So the next ones that we're going to move on to are going to be 61% malted rye, 39% corn. These both are going to be aged for just about a year in those 10-gallon virgin white American oak barrels with that heavy level char on the inside, so that level 4 alligator skin char. They do get that 3-week Aspen Stave finish as well, so you're going to really notice that like minty kind of green taste on the front half with your baking spices picked up on the back half. Very similar to the bourbons that we had just gone through, which I really hope you guys enjoyed. So the first one that you're going to try is going to be our small batch rye. So it's cut with water, brought down to 101.7 proof. In 2018, we won World's Best Rye with that guy, so we were doing it in single barrel at that time, and now since then we've moved over to small batch, which is kind of giving you a little bit more of a consistent flavor profile. I didn't think that we can get any better than our single barrel, and this small batch kind of blew me out the water. So you guys definitely want to enjoy that. It's going to be really good, kind of give you more of that spicy taste, but still finish a little bit sweet. So for our last one, and my favorite of this aged flagship, is going to be our barrel proof rye. This guy is Michael's idea of what 291 was going to represent. A very cowboy, westernized whiskey. You come into a stand-up bar, like we're at right now, have a shot of whiskey. Hopefully it's a little bit refined at this point, but you really enjoy it either way. It's going to be rough and tough and beautiful, just like Colorado. You will not have this cut with water just because it's going to be our barrel proof. So it's going to range from 126 to 129 proof. And this guy's going to be at 127.9 on my end. Yours might be a little bit different. You're going to get a lot of that French toast, maple syrup kind of vibes. A lot of rye bread, obviously, because it's rye. But it is going to be more of that cowboy whiskey. Because Michael loves our barrel proofs, he takes his time to sign every single one of them. So even with our bourbons, if you guys turn them, you guys can see that his signature's on there. They're all going to be very, very different because we hand label, hand bottle, and hand cage everything. So we want to give you as much love as you guys give us, which is definitely always our goal. This guy is probably one of the favorites out of all of the team that's here and having worked for 291. I really hope that you guys enjoy it. Take your time with this. Enjoy it with our family or friends. And give us some feedback. Let us know what you guys really think. I hope that you guys enjoyed our unaged or our aged barrel flight. All done with our flights. I hope that you guys really enjoyed them and you had such a good time. I know I always do every time I do a flight. I would love for you guys to come in and check us out if you're in the Colorado Springs area. Buy some bottles from us at this point. Once we're up and running, come do a tasting flight with me. But if you are not in the Colorado Springs area, check out Reserve Bar or your local liquor stores. 291 is in as many places as we can get into at this point. If you are from out of state, check our website. You can find the local liquor store that's closest to you that has us. If you guys would, I really hope that you guys enjoyed our flights. I think that I would love to hear from you and know which one your favorite is. We love interacting with the people who are 291 fans. We always say once you drink 291, you're family at this point. So connect with us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, whatever you think. We're always here for you. I know this time's a little bit harder and we're really trying to make everything happy. Please hashtag 291 family. Hashtag your quarantine cocktails if you got any cocktails going on. Send us pictures, anything and everything that you want to do. We're here for you. Hopefully we see you soon. Bye.